What's your Bronco out there with that?
Okay, we're good.
That's the Bronco instead of the pony the Mustang is. For the day, it'll be the Mustang will be back tomorrow.
Oh, you got your stamp.
Yeah,
Pretty sweet.
okay. Resolved. So Madam Mayor, we're on item number 9, accounts.
Yep.
So resolved, council approved the August 22nd, 2023 list of accounts, check numbers 230-1317 to 230-1520 in the amount of $2,350,823.32 for payment.
Moved by Councillor Corbus, second. Councillor Sutherland. Any further discussion? I have a question. On page 6 of 23, it's Alt Payworks. What is that?
Payworks is our payroll system.
Yeah, I know, but below that, you have all the public works, I want to say, and all the staff. I think that, no, this looks like it could be all public works. So who is included in Payworks?
This is where I think what we're doing here, and I'll get some further details for you, Madam Mayor, but I think it is, we had chosen to put public works last into the payroll, so council, fire, and administration was first rolled over to the payworks to be paid, and then we do a batch run for everything else for public works, which is still the old system in Mediware, and then we transferred over to payworks.
Okay. I'm not sure that I have a problem with it, but the problem that could arise is if we have any ratepayers coming in and wanting to look at our finances, there's no detail here. Like if somebody came in and wanted to know what my pay was for the month of August.
It's still available through our Mediware. We're running parallel systems until everything gets transferred over.
And then,
So the details are,
yeah,
then it'll be all available through Payworks on one system. As you can see, the admin is available in detail.
okay, to me, it's just not, I don't know, not as detailed, and there's not a lot of information here if someone was looking for something. And I'm not meaning one of us, I'm meaning a ratepayer. Because you know that can happen every once in a while too, so. Anyways, I have a mover, I have a seconder. If no one else has anything, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Okay. Moving on to grants, we have,
No financial statements?
sorry, financial statements. So we have resolved the financial statements dated July 31st of 2023 be accepted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Corbus seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Okay, thank you.
Grants.
Next is the grants. What we have is Stony Point Community Center, and this is a grant for request for shingles and the work on the roof, and they're asking for $6,000, sorry. And the resolution for it is resolved, council approved the following 2023 request grant, Stony Point Community Club 2023 for $6,000, and the shingles are quite old and they need to be replaced. They've been put up since 1979.
Okay, moved by Councillor Corbus, second. Councillor Sutherland. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Next to the Gordon Howard Center, and they're asking for $2,500. As you may recall, we have 15% of our residents, or 50% of the membership there is our residents who do the programs and utilize the center, and this is just a percentage of their operating costs.
Okay.
And the resolved council approved the following 2023 requested grant, Gordon Howard Center for 2023, $2,500.
Okay. Questions, or moved by Councillor Belanger, second Councillor Corbus. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
The next is for the Royal Canadian Museum, Ontario Command. What this is, the Legion itself. Sorry, not the Museum Legion, the Royal Canadian Legion. And what it is their program that they have and their newsletter that recognizes military service of of their members, and it's in their recognition book. And what they're asking for is a small grant for, sorry, Madam Mayor, for $260.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Horbus, second. Counselor Spicer, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, carried. Next one is our Red River Paddle Challenge.
And as you know, it's been a very successful program. Last year, we had donated $170 towards this paddle challenge. They're asking for $400 this year, and the reason being is it pays for the athletic therapist for doing the work. And so they discovered that there was quite a waiting list for people getting the athletic therapy, so this year they're looking at bringing in 2. And so the request is $400 for doing 2. So resolve council approved, we're recommending approval. Resolve council approved the following 2023 requested grant, Red River Paddle Challenge 2023, up to $400 for wages of 2 athletic therapists.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Spicer, Counselor Basarovic, seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And he was very busy last year, because I was there toward the end of the race, and there was a lot of people that had paddled all those kilometers and needed a little bit of attention when they came in.
Maybe next year we could send Williams to pick up all of that.
Okay, next is the bylaws.
So, Madam Mayor, this is bylaw 2, which is our bylaw for third reading. This is the bylaw for the local improvement district in this St. Clements Lockport catchment area. And what it is for the LID that was made available, and it's already had the first and second reading. There were no objections went to the municipal board. The municipal board has approved it with some minor adjustments, and we're bringing it back for third reading so that we can process this file.
Okay.
Resolved bylaw 3 of 2023 being a bylaw of the rural municipality of St. Clements to authorize the borrowing and expenditure of money for the installment of low pressure sewer system and local improvement of South St. Clements utility catchment area as amended be read a third time.
Now move it, please. Counselor Spicer, Counselor Horbus, seconds. And what bylaw number did you say?
Bylaw 2 of 2023.
You said 3.
Sorry.
Have a mover, have a seconder. If there's anything else, nothing else, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, carried. Recorded, yes, because it's third reading. So, Heather, did you get that? Okay.
So the next item on the agenda is the bylaw 7. This was brought into first reading. This is repealing the incentives for single-family dwellings, which wasn't really being that much of an uptake in the past, as well as it's not really needed as that type of an incentive program. So we recommended repealing that bylaw. So bylaw is bylaw 7, which is resolved bylaw 7 of 2023, being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 5 of 2019, be given second reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Boulanger, Counselor Sutherland, seconds. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Counselor Spicer.
So what happens if someone's in the midst of building a home? Right now.
If they're in the midst of building a home, they should have made the application before they made the application for building the home.
Yeah,
That was part of the
before they
requirement.
started, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
That was part of the requirements of this. And that's where the challenge was, somebody built it, but somebody else is living there, they come to apply and it doesn't have to qualify.
Okay. I was just checking. Thank you.
Okay, have a mover, have a seconder. Call the question. All those in favor, opposed, carried.
So next is reading it for the third time, so resolve bylaw 7 of 2023 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 5 of 2019 be read a third time.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Basarovic, Counselor Horbus, seconds. Any further questions? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor, opposed, that is carried. And we are down to 10.4, bylaw 8.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now, this bylaw is being brought forward as an amendment to our capital development fees. And so what this bylaw does is brings in development fees for the utility infrastructure charges. We've had multiple bylaws, there's been 3 different bylaws, and it's been difficult for individuals to understand when some bylaws were being applied to East Selkirk and others were being applied for Lockport. Now what we're recommending is one complete bylaw and repealing the others, which will be one consistent set of fees right across the board. This is the first reading, and we'll have a much more detailed presentation on the second reading. The third bylaw, the 3 bylaws had different charges because they were established in different types of structure. Now that we have regional water and regional sewer, we've introduced this. And as part of bringing in phase 2 for the twin force mains and bringing the water lines into the Lockport area, we have informed our public through the public hearing process for our local improvement district that we'd be looking at changing the fee structure. So this is the introduction of that fee structure. It takes a look at several different things. One is the capital development levies, does a comparison with all other municipalities and what our capital development fees are, and to make sure that we're consistent or within the range of what's being charged around in the municipality. And we are consistent, we're in the middle ground, as and definitely the lowest with some of the municipalities around us. The next is to take a look at the charges for water and sewer, and so that was based on the total number of units being, first for water being charged, now that we have an upgraded water treatment plant and more water available into the Lockport area, and also in East Selkirk. So there's a standard price that's been established by the number of units and the amount that was invested, so benefiters, the people who benefit from the service receive this service. Details of how that was determined is written in the report. The other one was the wastewater, and sorry, before I get into the wastewater, also it was analyzed over 20 years to look at average growth, and based on the average growth, we've been able to determine that we would be looking at recovering almost all the funds as necessary. As to the wastewater, another review was done there as well, and it was to take a look at the work associated and the work needed into the future to bring us up to, based on our growth potentials, and prices were looked at for various phases as for growth. There we're anticipating over $16 million of investment over the next several years, and with that, the costs were analyzed. So the costs that have been determined is the connection fees, which will be going up to $7,700 for the wastewater. But a part of this is that the curb stop installation will no longer be part of the fee structure, and the curb stops will be just the responsibility of the property owner because there's too much fluctuation in cost of construction. This would be a consistent number that can be easily applied and easily defensible as to what it could be, because it's very difficult to determine inflationary cost for construction. And there's a detailed breakdown of that, and also took a look at growth again at our standard growth based on 2021 census, and applied it over the next 20 years, and it looks like based on the fees and the recommended 3% increase every year, we would be able to recover our costs. And so that's our bylaw 8 for approval, Madam Mayor, and I'll read so it's for the first reading. So resolve bylaw 8 being a bylaw to provide capital reserve funds for the new developments of fees and utility infrastructure, buy-in charges, and other fees required as part of the land development be given first reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Horbis seconds. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
So, if he wants to look into that system, he still gets for 14 until the third reading.
Until the third reading, correct. So the current fee structure is in place until the third reading.
Anything else? Have a mover, have a seconder. If there are no further questions, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
The next is bylaw 9, which is basically an amendment to bylaw 6 of 2016, which was adopted by water and sewer utilities expansion reserve. And so in the body of the bylaw, it identified bylaw 10, which is being repealed, as well as bylaw 8. And so what we're recommending is an amendment to that bylaw. So that's what this bylaw comes forward with. So bylaw 9, what we're recommending is the changes in bylaw 9 is to make the changes to items 2 and 3, which is that funds collected under the provision of bylaw 8 of 2023 infrastructure trust, deposit of water and waste infrastructure, be changed. And the other is the funds collected under the bylaws utility infrastructure buy-in charges be deposited to the water and sewer utility expansion reserve. And so for that, we're resolved bylaw 9 of 2023 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6 of 2016, the water and sewer utilities expansion reserve be as amended, be given its first reading.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, second Councillor Sutherland. Any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And I believe that finishes our communications. We have communications for information, and I think we went through most of those already.
So we have council report, CA report, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, and we'll go council reports, and I think that Councillor Horvitz would like to leave in 2 minutes, so I'm going to let him go first.
What did I do? Went to the powwow in Scanterbury, went to pancake breakfast in Weevil. What else did I? Went to a cow meeting.
The picnic.
Oh, and I went to the Gull Lake picnic. So just kind of like a party animal there.
Open house.
Open house, went to the open house. Yeah.
Daycare.
Went to the daycare opening. Thank you, Rob. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Gazarovich, go ahead.
August 3rd, we did ARM at Nutley. August 8th, committee of the whole, special meeting, daycare tour, rec report, Brenna. August 11th, Broken Head powwow. And August 15th, the open house. Victor.
The open house. I missed you at the powwow.
Yeah, tell them about the Hulk. Those pictures.
There's pictures, I got the pictures.
Yeah, well, we were sitting down, and apparently you were on the other side. We walked twice around first, we were getting food. The circle, you were inside there? Also on the outside.
Around the outside till the vendors.
Yeah, apparently, well, probably Dave, he said, well, you just left.
I saw that big dark cloud coming from the north, so
Well,
I'd be able to.
We caught a little bit of the rain, that's why we left.
Anything else for you, Glenn? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. August 3rd, Association of Rural Municipalities charity event in Nutley. August 8th, committee of the whole, special meeting, talk about finances, grants, and administration updates. August 15th, the ARM open house. August the 16th, Red River Planning regular meeting. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Spicer. Go ahead, Councillor Belanger.
August 3rd, the golf tourney, August 8th, daycare and the committee of the whole meeting, and August 15th, open house. The girls did an excellent job. There were more vendors than there was last year.
Yeah.
And Brenda was saying it was her assistant that really took it over this year, so good job.
Very good.
Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Much the same, August 6th, Gull Lake picnic. The 11th, the powwow of Broken Head, August 12th, pancake breakfast at Lebo. I think it was August 14th, the daycare. Walk through.
That was the 8th.
Was it the 8th, sorry, okay. August 15th, the open house, and that's it. I mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I have many of the same. July the 25th, I had a council meeting. July the 26th, I think I mentioned this one before. Jennifer and I met with a couple of people at her office to discuss some concerns raised by residents on both sides of the river. ideas were brought forward on how improvements to be looked at or could be looked at. RRPD will look at where things sometimes go sideways. July the 31st, I was picked to sit on a committee for the WMR Executive Director interviews. Pauline Sklar, as everybody knows, has left the WMR. She's working with John Q now, so they needed a Executive Director for WMR, so we spent the day interviewing prospective directors, and we did come to a conclusion. And the person that was chosen, and I will tell you this because she does know already, and she has sent out a couple of emails, was Pauline's assistant, Jennifer Freeman. So she was the successful candidate for the job. August 1st, Deepak and I went to the provincial announcement in Gimli, and that was to advise the municipalities that there was additional funding coming from the province under the Rural Strategic Infrastructure Basket. So we have baskets again. So we'll see where we're going to use our money, because I think it's a fair amount of money that we're receiving again this time. So
Almost $900,000.
so yeah,
100,000.
Almost 900,000
$900,000.
by population.
That's the case.
And then, of course, August the 3rd, we had the ARM fundraiser, and August 6th, the Bell Lake picnic, August 8th, a special meeting in the Committee of the Whole meeting, August 11th, the Broken Head Ojibwe Nation powwow, and there was greetings brought by Grand Chief Patrick Merritt was there, as was Grand Chief Cindy Woodhouse, and there were a couple of MLAs there that also brought greetings, and I always think it's a good event, and the dancers in their jingle skirts and their regalia, they always get to me when they come out and they do their dance, and it's kind of touching, so I really enjoy that.
You forgot to mention John Johansson was
Yeah.
there. You left him in the middle there.
Yeah. August 12th, I attended the pancake breakfast at Levo. August the 15th was the RM open house. And I do apologize that I wasn't there as long as I would have liked to have been, but I guess what I have written here is, firstly, thank you to the organizers and all the staff that helped make our open house a huge success. It was well attended, and there were positive comments about what we are doing to better serve our residents. I didn't have anybody with any negativity come to speak to me, and everybody is very happy with what we're doing. So one of the residents came to me and said the Connect is the best thing that's ever happened, because in one of the storms they had their power go out, so they couldn't use anything in their house, and all of a sudden their cell phones rang, and it was our Connect message, and she said that was very much appreciated, that we were notified of what was going on. So, and then August 16th, the RPD regular board meeting. That's all I have.
So for my update, Madam Mayor, daycare project for East Selkirk construction of building continues, and it's on track for substantial completion by the end of August. The lease agreement with Hand in Hand Daycare provider for the East Selkirk Early Learning Daycare Center has been signed and sent to the province of Manitoba for their records, which allows for funding to be released to the East Selkirk Early Learning Daycare Center. Challenges exist with finding qualified staff to fill vacant positions. And I was informed by the daycare that they're having some challenges, and this seems to be a consistent issue throughout the region. So we have lots of daycares that we need to find staff now, or they need to find staff, and they'll be working with the province of Manitoba. The daycare provider is working with the province on how to rectify this situation. As to the curb stop connections, municipal board approval for the local improvement district borrowing, which was just approved by bylaw today, has come forward for this month. The contractor continues to work on installing curb stops and is also doing some private installations as requested by many residents. This is also, they are working on Henderson Highway, and we'll be working around Manitoba infrastructure upgrades on Henderson Highway. The contractor still expects to complete by the end of October, and the contractor continues to contact residents to work with them on private installs without impacting our contract. As to the St. Clements Activity Center, the RFP for the construction has been issued, and we're expecting to review submissions in the next few weeks. A request was received to extend the submission deadline by 2 weeks and has been granted, and a site meeting with the proponents is scheduled for next week. The selection for the design builder contractor will need to be identified to the province and the federal government, and we may experience getting some approvals delayed due to the election. And as the project is an ICIP project with support from the federal and provincial government, requires some additional due diligence.
ICIP?
Investigate Canada.
Quick question. So did that have to go on MERS? I'm
Yes.
assuming.
It was on MERX. We've had over 57 people that have downloaded it, and many of them are coming to that meeting next week. And we're having a site meeting with our owner's representative, and we're going to decide on several different things. There's some issues that we're working out also with Red River as part of this whole process already. Related with the permits as to sprinkler requirements. Phase 2 of the regional water project has begun, and the contractor has been selected, which you were informed of earlier. The wastewater project for the lift station and Lockport decommissioning RFP will be out very shortly. The total is slated. The total expenses stated, or as stated earlier, is over $6.5 million of expenditures this year, which is including the $3.25 million from the Water Services Board. The general meetings, developer for submissions for the CMHC Housing Accelerator Fund, I had several of those. Curb stop project management meetings, as well as St. Clements Activity Center project meeting, as well as various general meetings with our business operations. As to the monthly statistics that I've been looking at providing regularly, we had a very busy month. Compared to the previous month, we had 21 total emergency calls. East Beaches had 4, East Selkirk had 2, and Narrow had a whopping 15 calls. Those calls, you can see, they were spread out throughout as to motor vehicle collisions, to structure fires, to vehicle fires. And as to the monthly update on bylaw enforcement and animal control, we had 7 complaints. We issued 4 cautions, and 2 patrols occurred. Breakdown of the complaints: dogs at large 6, and 1 dog barking. As to the monthly bylaw enforcement statistics, we weren't able to receive those in time for this update, and we'll bring those the next 2 months at the next meeting. They had some technical difficulties with their system in order to provide it to us in time. They did come in very late, but I didn't feel that there was enough time to review to bring those forward. Finance update: financial statements prepared for January, July has been submitted. Finishing up the audits, we've been using an additional person to make sure that that gets done for 21-22. We continue to work on the establishment of the TIF with the provincial and internal staff, and working on setting up the curbside billing and the utility system. Special projects update: the electrical vehicle charges, the East Recreation Center has been installed. The grab array is to be installed within the next week or 2. Capital development fees: report of the bylaw brought forward for adoption of first reading in August has been brought forward. The purchasing policy: report and recommended policy changes to come forward in September.
Question?
Go ahead, Rob.
I know Kevin's busy, he's got a lot going on and stuff. I'm just wondering, do you know if he has started or got out the engineering costs for George and Harry Park Service? I know he was going to look at those roads just to get an engineering idea on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's been identified for him. What I've asked Kevin to do is report back on the various initiatives initiatives that were identified as part of the budget process. So
You'll be flying.
there was the review of CIL for the expansion and the roundabout, the George and Harold,
You mean Colville?
sorry, Colville, I keep saying CIL, Colville. And the other is the George and Harold, and then there was also the look at Donald and Hay.
Engineering wise,
Engineering wise, so that we can determine the costs.
Yes,
And then the funds that council had allocated could be
okay,
expended accordingly.
thank you.
So that's what we plan to bring forward at the next COG meeting, so we can concentrate on some of those projects. As well, I've asked Public Works to report back on lessons learned from the current dust control program. So this year, council increased the funding for the dust control program. So what kind of an impact did that have? Yes, we did receive complaints, but you gotta remember this year, we had a early spring with a very dry spring that caused issues where when we normally would bring dust control, we were being requested. But what did we learn after we put the dust control in? What did we miss? What service level should we look at for the future? And this is a discussion to have with council.
And our grass cutting was a flop.
Grass cutting went,
Grass cutting was a,
didn't go over well again.
no. Not just,
He was concentrating specifically on those this year.
we got asked even at the Lebo, okay, so what's going on here?
Yeah,
It's, and now I spoke with Kevin at the open house. And really the contractors, they don't have the machinery to go into the ditch.
You're ready, Clifton?
So, anyway, partly our fault for not,
For the previous
Try again
contract, but
next
this is the
year.
last year of the
Yeah.
contract with them.
yeah,
So we'll be able to address it for next year for sure.
yeah.
And it's an unfortunate, but we had a 3-year contract with them. We've learned some lessons with them. On top of that, we've learned some lessons on what kind of equipment we want for our own staff too, that Kevin was going to be looking at.
In front of my place, they went down maybe 3 feet off the road.
Same with Ferry Road, I just couldn't believe it. It's terrible.
Okay, that's my update. Any further questions?
I don't have anything. Anybody else have anything for?
No.
Deepak? Okay, Heather, do you have anything that you would like to share with us this evening?
No, I don't.
Okay. And?
9:30?
On a half hour.
Right on. Okay, if there is nothing else that we need to discuss this evening, I will call for the resolution to adjourn our meeting today.
Resolve this meeting of council be adjourned at 8:33 PM, August 22nd, 2023.
Moved by Councillor Boulanger, seconded by Councillor Sutherland, all in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you very much. It was a bit of a long haul, but we got through everything.
Yeah.
So the next big one, so we're good for September the 5th for county.
Yeah, like
So
I say,
Kevin
I'll
felt
be
he'd be
zooming
ready.
in.
We'll be ready for that.
You got connectivity up there?
I hope so. I mean, I
No.
used, not even on,
I tried going to the hotel, but